Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including a Voltron Legendary Defender, which we'll be getting into right now. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Hayley Nabuurs.
Hello.
Jeff Anderson.
Howdy.
And Andy Potter.
Hello.
Today, we are getting into Season 5 of Voltron Legendary Defender, which came out on Netflix today on March 2nd. Season 5, 6 episodes of Voltron. We were talking the first two, and only the first two, The Prisoner and Blood Duel, here on this podcast. We recap whenever Netflix decides to dump an arbitrary amount of Voltron episodes. We recap whatever they do, and we've done this since the beginning of the show. You can find us at overlyanimated.com or search for Overly Animated Voltron on iTunes. Subscribe there to our Voltron-specific iTunes feed, or if you're listening on YouTube, you can subscribe there as well to not miss any of our future Voltron podcasts. Basically, we won't be having spoilers beyond The Prisoner and Blood Duel. I have not seen past these episodes, so if you have not seen past these two episodes, feel free to listen. But we will be getting into spoilers for just these two, and that's how it's going to work as we go through the season. The season plan is we're going in chunks of 2 episodes. We'll be knocking this out of the way by the end of the weekend. And if you're listening past the release weekend, you can find all those podcasts presuming they'd be up already. So, getting into The Prisoner and Blood Duel, make sure you've seen these episodes. Spoilers, starting off hot here with this, quote unquote season 5. So let's get into things. Hayley, what did you
like those quotes. Very good.
You like what?
Those quotes.
Yeah.
The quote unquote.
I mean, really, what season is this actually?
I have no concept of
it's
that.
not, it's not clear. Yeah. I also think we've gotten into this on past podcasts. Probably Voltron seasons are more like 26 episodes anyway, and they're never released like that. But yeah, so we're really breaking it into chunks. This finale will be the 3/4 mark of a 26 episode season. Okay. Hayley, what did you think of these 2 episodes?
I think they were in keeping with a lot of other season premieres for Voltron quote-unquote seasons, where the first episode was kind of like, eh, and then the second episode was a little eh at the beginning, and then by the end, we're starting to get into, like, what the seas's going to be about.
That's a very specific pattern.
Yeah. It seems to repeat itself quite frequently. But I don't know. I think the first episode was... I didn't really like the first episode that much. I think mostly because there were parts of it, like the fights at the beginning, where it was a neat fight, but I had no idea what any of the motivations were, and I don't think the fight was cool enough to carry that scene when I'm just like, what's happening? As we drop back in. And it had a couple parts, like the coalition and things, where I'm kind of not super into it with it, so it was, I don't know, the first episode was... It was a premiere. We're getting into things. But I think the second episode picked up in the second half. And then I loved all the Hagar stuff. And I'm happy that maybe Zarkon's dead. Like, I just want him to leave. And Lotor can come in instead. So I'm excited for what is going to come of the end of Blood Duel. But yeah. I don't know. I think they were like they're leading into what's going to come.
Okay.
Basically.
Yeah, big ramifications that we're excited to get into.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Jeff, what were your takeaways from these 2 episodes?
Well, I'm going to sound a bit like a broken record on this topic. I've said in the past how much I don't like the Netflix model of dump everything at once and let us rummage through it as we like. Because we'll get into it. You know, we did end episode 2 in a cliffhanger, and for most people who watch this, the cliffhanger is a cliffhanger for about, 10 seconds.
Yeah. Not
even. Whereas, in the good old days, it was a cliffhanger for a whole week. So, like, if you're lucky, you get one good cliffhanger. Like, in a season these days, with this distribution model, you get maybe one good cliffhanger out of the entire season, if it ends on one. As far as the actual content, I really liked, with Hayley, I liked episode 2 better than episode 1 because we get the amazing family feud at the end, great production values, and you can really tell that there is something else at stake here that we don't know about yet, but we are probably going to soon, hopefully. So, looking forward to that.
Yeah. This, we happen to end on potential cliffhanger. We'll discuss if it is a cliffhanger here. But yeah, we get a day out of it, so that's good. Out of this. But yeah, assume you're referring to the Lotor Zarkon fight in
Precisely.
episode 2, which, yeah.
It would be a cliffhanger if it was serialized a week at a time.
Right. I mean, on the other hand, they know when they're writing the show that it's released this way. So, it's
commentary on the world.
Yeah, on the world. Okay. They're able to tailor it somewhat to this model, although I'm not clear if they were aware that Netflix would start splitting it up into chunks of 6 and 7. I don't think so. So, anyway, Andy, what do you think of these 2 episodes?
I'm pretty much in the same boat. One was just like a normal Voltron first episode of a season thing, and the second was a lot better. I really enjoyed it. Production values are up in general. I think music took a jump this season that's a little more notable than the other seasons. I felt a lot more into it in most of the scenes, especially when Allura and Shiro were taking the elevator down to see Lotor when he was a prisoner of them. Like, that music in that scene was really solid, and I think that was just flowed, and that just was true for most of these 2 episodes. Other than that, this really made me frustrated with the whole dropping parts of seasons, because it feels like they were required to have this first episode of the seasons that's like, here's the gang again. And it's like, but we only have 6 episodes. Do we really need to spend one of these 6 episodes introducing people to us again? We don't need this. We don't need part of the episode dedicated to, here's Voltron. We're going to show you what it looks like when we transform. It's like, we know what it looks like. And honestly, I just skipped past it because it doesn't change. It's the same minute-long transformation no matter what.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, okay, I think I would be surprised if Tim Hedrick and team were aware that this was going to be a 6-episode season when they were writing this. Like, I think that that's a decision Netflix made pretty close to the release of season 3, and I think that these episodes were written even before then.
But it feels like a premiere, though. It feels like it even opens that way. But then, like it feels like an opening of a season to me.
Right. I mean, I think that's why they split it.
There.
Yeah. But I don't think you can blame the potential frustrations on the prisoner on the release. I don't think that was factored in. Yeah,
that's fair. But that is what I'm frustrated with.
Yeah,
the beginning section there.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you on the them transforming, because I mean, I'm the most anti-transformation sequence person ever, and they were inside of this confined space, and then you get the transformation sequence of them going
with
into
lava
space.
rushing towards them as well. Like,
it was really the stupidest thing ever.
I think I was the one highest on the transformation too, and I'm just done. I'm just completely done now.
We cover 3 shows with transformation sequences. Voltron is by far the worst. Oh my god,
it's so long.
Specifically the transformation.
Yeah, not the show overall, but and given this show is like one of the most beautiful looking shows on TV, them just having the same minute of reused animation is in situations that don't make sense is incredibly frustrating. Anyway,
like they could customize it for like going in lava, right? That would be interesting.
Right, just put some lava in the background. You know, it's
not the stars.
How did they what were the logistics of transforming inside of the thing anyway? But we don't know because it's not written in.
They're Dylan. They can just do what they want.
Okay. Anyway, the Blood Duel had some very hype stuff. It was probably a good episode. I think that given the content of the episode, like this was like the climactic Lotor Zarkon struggle, stuff with Lotor's generals fighting fighting some of our heroes and getting Dad back and all this stuff. Like I feel like it should have been better given the hype stuff, but it was still really good. Hagar stuff was great. Blood Duel was very hype. That gets me interested in the season. The Prisoner is like what I think of the typical Voltron episode, in that it's just completely emotionally disconnected from my viewing of it. It's all fight scenes that I don't care about. Yeah. Anyway, this typical Dylan criticisms of The Prisoner. And, I'm very, that being said, there's one sequence in The Prisoner, which was very interesting, which was them confronting Lotor and, Lotor trying to convince them that, he is on their side. I guess I'm worried that won't play out anymore, in the rest of the season, because that was so interesting. And it's like, we're really canning that after Blood Duel. Maybe it could still be in play. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, presumably he's going to go back and join them, right? He needs to keep up his. I'm of the opinion that's a huge act, and he's just playing 2 sides against each other. He'd probably want to keep that going.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's not clear. He could try to step up and fill the void if Zarkon is dead, left in the Garan Empire. I guess probably Hagar is already trying to assert control herself in some fashion, but her actions are really ambiguous in this episode. I mean, like he could try to step into the Zarkonless void. We saw that already, last season's. Or he could go back to them. Yeah, it seems like he should go back to them, and then we could have this dynamic play out more, because it is really interesting, like Lotor friend or foe, just because Lotor is such, by far one of the strongest components of the series still.
And I think Zarkon still has too much plot armor to be killed just yet.
Okay, so yeah, that's the top story. Let's talk about that. Is Zarkon dead? We thought he was dead once, then he came back to life. Now he's dead again. I feel like that's why this isn't that huge of a moment. Like, it's like, wow, Lotor kills Zarkon, wow. It's like, this happens 2 seasons.
He's died like 4 times.
He died and Lotor took over before. So, that being said, he had literal, magic, quintessence armor on. And, he goes, quintessences himself, they fight. Zarkon is presumably stabbed with the Black Bayard.
Actually, I don't think so.
No, it was just a black piece of metal that Lotor picked up. It was just like a.
I mean, it's just a black piece of metal.
No, it was.
He just picked up.
It was like red. It was like a red staff thing.
No, I just saw the Black Bayard.
Well, no.
Transforming from a thing.
That was Zarkon was firing that. It was
yeah.
That's what Zarkon was firing?
Yeah, that was the Black Bayard, and Lotor ran forward, picked up a piece of metal.
When did he take it away? By the way, this is the problem.
It fell down, and Zarkon picked it up.
This is the problem with Blood Duel. I did not track what was happening with the Black Bayard at all.
It was amazing. The fight was perfect.
I didn't get how he got it at the beginning. Like how Lotor joined the battle with it.
First of all, it's not clear why Lotor has it, right? Yeah.
Okay. That's true. I don't know why Lotor has it, but I wasn't being sarcastic, Dylan. I honestly think this is the best fight scene in the show.
It's a great fight scene. I think it's hard to track logically when you're going.
I didn't have any problem with it,
so that he could escape his captors and they wouldn't have to go into their bargaining chip.
Right. Okay. So let's talk first why Lotor has it. So I think there's 2 possibilities. Because either way, it's not shown on the episode. Number one is that, he's given it by Shiro voluntarily so that, this counteracts Zarkon's likely double cross of them, and that he can fight, Zarkon when he's given as prisoner. So he was in on the transfer, and that's why he had the Black Bayard. 2 would be that he stole it from Shiro, anticipating that, he didn't want to go with Zarkon anyway. I think
we don't have any evidence of that.
I don't think we have evidence of either one, because we don't really see it. But
okay. So Occam's razor is he was given it.
I agree. I definitely think he was given it. I think that explains the scenes of, the flashbacks of them talking to him earlier in the episode. And Shiro seemed to be or he was trying to decide what to do, and half of them were saying, let's do what Lotor said. Like, we should have seen them, just going against Lotor if they were, but it was like a half measure to a certain extent.
We didn't see Shiro go like, oh, how'd he get that for me?
That's positive evidence that he did not steal it.
Right.
Yeah.
So probably he was given it by Shiro, and this was their plan to counteract Zarkon. Okay.
Can anyone use the Bayards though?
Yes. I think that's been shown that anyone can use them, but people can use them better.
The land. Oh, okay.
Okay, Andy, tell me what happens when with the Black Bayard towards the end of the fight.
So what happened was, I forget the exact blows that happened, but I know that Lotor attacked Zarkon. Zarkon grabbed the sword or something, while the Bayard was a sword, and Lotor is forced to let go of the Black Bayard. And then at that point, Zarkon grabs and he starts shooting at Lotor with a beam thing. That's the Black Bayard as a gun now. He transformed it into a gun to start fighting Lotor, and then he turned the Bayard towards the lions to shoot them, and Lotor then stabbed him in the back. Like, that's the chain there.
With a random piece of metal.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm remembering this now.
Jeff, do you agree with that retelling?
I'm watching it now. That's exactly what happened.
Okay. Good. I was going to go do that. Good. Okay. See, I did not follow that, but, in the episode.
Right, well, do better next time.
I don't know if it was my fault or the episode. I think it was the episode, but, wow. I don't think it really matters.
I think it's like a 3-on-1 here.
I don't think it particularly matters what's going on with the Bayard. Like the thing is, he's going to be. So another logic problem with the fight is that we cut away from the fight when it seems like Lotor had the upper hand. He stabbed the quintessence pack on Zarkon, and then the next time we see him, Zarkon has the upper hand. And he's cornering Lotor, but Lotor is saved by the lion shooting at Zarkon. Is that true, Andy?
Well, no, the change happened when Zarkon got the Black Bayard. He took the upper hand when he got the Black Bayard again.
When did he take the Black Bayard? At the end of that scene that I was talking about with the quintessence pack?
Yeah, like right after he got his quintessence pack stabbed, that's when Zarkon got the Black Bayard and the fight turned again in Zarkon's favor.
Okay. Didn't get that at all. But
wait, no. So he sliced the back, and then we cut away, and then the next thing we see is he's like just throwing him against the wall, or like Zarkon throwing Lotor against the wall.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I don't remember that shot, but yeah. I do think the fact that we have to spend 10 minutes talking about what happened in the fight means the fight wasn't really coherent. But even if it tracked in the episode, it's still, it should be clear, I feel like, to the audience. But regardless,
it's very dynamic.
Though, is like how intense Lotor was when, like, he risked his life to go kill his father, like, just the moment when he thought his father was about to destroy those lions. I think that means Lotor disproportionately cares about those lions, like really did not want them to be destroyed.
Really interesting.
He's like, no, we haven't seen that kind of emotion from him in a long time, and I think that's evidence that he has plans for them.
He could have let him shoot them if he has these ulterior motives where he doesn't actually want to work with them. He totally could have let Zarkon murder them in that second.
Yeah, so this moment where he has the bear, he shoots the lions, and Lotor, and that's when Lotor goes and stabs him. So I think on one hand, the argument was that's proof he cares about the lions and our side. On the other hand, if Zarkon successfully just destroys the lions and the resulting being the rebellion, isn't Lotor's spot blown up? Doesn't he have no more moves to play? So I feel like it still could be a selfish thing.
Oh, no. When I said he cares about the lions, I don't mean in a good way.
He cares about them for his own self-interest.
Yeah,
I'm sure he has no interest in keeping those alive, except just to sow discord in the Empire.
Right. Yeah, I think he has a vested interest, in there being an active rebellion against Zarkon, because if Zarkon gains full control, he's dead. So he needs. I feel like it's something
more than that, and that's what we're probably going to get revealed in 2 or 3 episodes. Is why he really wants those lions. Something about their material, like the trans-dimension, whatever. Yeah. He's going to finish his own anti-Voltron robot.
Yeah, he already has one of the ships done, and he wants a few more of them.
Yeah. That definitely could be as well. It could be both. It could be one. So we're not, okay, we'll get back into it in a second. Anyway, first, Zarkon Stabbed. I'm going to argue that this is not really that much of a cliffhanger. I think the episode kind of presents him as being dead, because, he's kind of clearly stabbed, though we don't show the exact entry wound or whatever. The big thing is that he powers down, like he's kind of like a robot, and
he's completely a robot.
We see him powering down. I feel like that's like the light going out of his eyes.
Yeah. We also see quintessence flowing down the black spear, like blood, a lot like blood. It looks pretty devastating.
Yeah. I don't know. I also don't know what the point of half killing him, but Jeff, you said you weren't convinced he was dead.
Yeah, I mean, yes, we did see that the armor powered down, but that's very different from actually dying dead. I mean, he obviously, I don't know. I don't think there's enough evidence to support that he's dead, and I think there's enough plot armor to support that he might be alive. More interesting things to do. Plus, there's an interesting, we had the witch lady, blanking on her name right now, Hagar, activated some protocol, whatever that I can't remember the name of, and we didn't get a closure on that. So was that
him powering down?
It might have been. It might have been her powering his suit down remotely. We've seen her ability to do that before when she powered down those cannons in the finale of last season. Mm-hmm. So she can power down tech remotely. Maybe she did that to keep her son alive.
Okay, we'll talk about Hagar's role in this. But yeah, so Zarkon either dead or incapacitated. Yeah, you're right. The armor, I guess, powering down doesn't mean him. We don't really know how much he at this point is armor or alien person. Yeah.
There's also the wild card if he's not actually in the suit. Like it's some kind of he's controlling it, but he's not in it right now.
I guess that's possible too. I mean, I
don't think that's true, but that's also a possibility.
We literally see them having the hologram trick earlier in the episode, so it could just be another trick. Yeah. I'm gonna say let's assume he's dead for now, because I feel like the show has every reason to kill Zarkon, mostly because he's not a good villain. And
what are we gonna do with him after this point?
It is a weird time within like the quote unquote season to kill him. It's like not this finale or anything. There's like, I was surprised they brought Zarkon back before, because killing him was like an obvious move to do before. Mm-hmm. It was like a good move to do before. But I guess at the same time, if Lotor is a potential ally for the Paladins, then after this, if Zarkon's dead, who's controlling the bad side? Is it just Hagar? Like that's gonna be interesting to see. So let's talk Hagar's actions. Yeah, in this episode, her big moment is that she remembers that Lotor is her son. Presumably son. She definitely says Lotor's her son. Basically, son
She's
of her.
Pregnant
and,
with him.
Yeah, son of her and Zarkon. That's the not 100% confirmed part, right? Like, this is Zarkon's child. Yes.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah.
Well, he said like, "Oh, you're my greatest shame," and everything about how he has Altean blood.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah. Because that was up for debate right before this season, whether Lotor was actually their child, or I don't remember what's confirmed or not at this point. We assumed, and she's that moment. Is she actively trying to remember things now? I think that's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Yes, it seems like that's what she was doing in that stage. It seemed like she was trying to understand what her past was and why she was there, because was it last season that it ended with her remembering who Zarkon was to her?
2 seasons ago, yeah.
Okay, 2 seasons. Oh my god.
Half a season ago.
Yeah.
A third of a season ago. Who knows?
Yeah, so she knows who she was and who Zarkon is, and now she puts herself in like a pool of quintessence, maybe, in order to try to remember more things. She remembers Lotor, and she doesn't seem to want Zarkon to retrieve Lotor. That's one thing, and then she initiates Operation Curon Stage 4, which is, they were talking about Curon before.
Stage 3 and 2 and 1.
Well, I think this is a thing that exists. I don't remember what it is, but I remember this being a thing. Like, didn't they say Quran in The Prisoner? I feel like they said that word.
Is it like Quran, like on the ship Quran? Like they're friends?
It's not that Quran.
No, it's different spelling, but.
Yeah. So what, Andy, what do you think this, any read on what this operation she's initiating is?
I have no clue. It's like this show has given us no evidence to what this plan could possibly be. They just keep throwing new magical things, and it's like, I'm sure it'll be fun to watch whatever it is. I'm not saying it's going to be bad. I'm just like, I don't think the show has given us any evidence towards what this could be, what Hagar's plan is right now. Because before this season, I would have said Hagar was going to try to get Zarkon's memories back. But right now, it doesn't seem like she's too keen on helping Zarkon. She was doing her own thing, really.
Yeah. So I feel like, my read on this is that this is, her going against Zarkon, basically, like in whatever state.
Yeah.
I think that, she hears that Zarkon's going after Lotor. She's deciding to side with Lotor, or at least try to prevent Zarkon from, getting Lotor, because I think it's important to remember what she has remembered. She has the flashbacks that we saw at the end of season 3, which basically paint Zarkon as evil madman. So she kind of knows that, and she also knows that Lotor is her son, maybe wants to protect him. I feel like she has she's enough evidence at this point to move against Zarkon. So I think that's a potential thing. Jeff says potentially powering down his suit. I'm not sure they're connected, but we have seen her do somewhat similar things.
It's also possible, like, I mean, we haven't seen an explicit evidence that she's specifically, like, against Zarkon and for Lotor. It might be like, oh no, I have to intervene to save my husband because my son's going to kill him. You know?
Yeah, she could see it on either side, and maybe just wants to prevent a conflict too, yeah.
I think it's more likely that she's against her husband, but, you know, possibilities there.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing definitive. Like, what's Hagar doing? I think she still has the most potential here out of our villa, out of her and Zarkon, and maybe even Lotor as Lotor's better served not as the big bad. Like, that being said, Hagar, like, we don't think she's like this big bad like Zarkon either. So I'm very interested to see how the show functions if Zarkon is dead and Lotor is not serving as our villainous presence. Is Hagar going to step into that role? Is she not? Is it
She's
just
got a lot of followers?
I would assume the lieutenants fill some of that role, or as you call them, the generals, Dylan, the people that used to follow Lotor.
Yeah, it's we can briefly talk about them. They get ejected from the ship at the end. They seem to have completely gone back to the main Galran side and turned against Lotor, which we saw, but like, I was like, okay, they're given there's another moment for them to double cross Zarkon and come back to Lotor. No, that didn't happen.
Nope.
And,
Yeah.
Interesting, like parallel arc between this and like Azula's crowd in Avatar.
Right. Yeah, the opposite May and Ty Lee basically is what they're pulling. I am very disappointed in what the show is doing with them. This is not interesting.
No.
Like, I thought that was being part of Lotor's plan. Like, I thought he was going to get taken by.
Yes, I agree. I thought that's what was happening. Yeah,
because Lotor just it didn't fit at all that they double crossed him to begin with. It felt like they were really loyal to him.
Right. There's that, and then whatever. Let's get past that. Okay, they just need to do something interesting. What they're doing isn't interesting. Yeah. Like we'd prefer if they like it is more explained why they were with Lotor in the first place, because now it just seems like they don't care. But regardless, I guess them leading the Galran Empire would be pretty interesting. So I'd be for that, I guess.
I'm wondering if maybe they so Zarkon is gone, fingers crossed, and then Hagar is now the big bad, the boss, because she's like the high priestess, right? So she seems to be like she might be second in command and has a lot of followers. So maybe she starts to become the boss, and then the generals, lieutenants, whatever, they join her. And I think that would be really cool if like all of them are working together.
Ooh, Hagar plus
Hagar plus all of them.
Generals,
that'd be so cool. I would love that because they're all my favorite characters right now. They're the only ones that really have any sort of interest in their storylines. Honestly,
yeah, that would be really fun. A coalition there. I definitely think Hagar is the one that would be leader with Zarkon dead and Lotor declared an enemy of the Galran Empire. I definitely think it's Hagar.
She's got a lot of screen time and like interesting plot development happening in these first episode or two. So I'm thinking it seems like it's going to continue. Like we're not just going to stop with her. No.
Yeah. I mean, clearly Hagar's a super major part of the show. We're building her up continually, and regardless of whether she's the big bad or some sort of Lotor type third party, which is I feel like what the show's portrayed her as more than a big bad. She isn't taken as overtly non-sympathetic actions as Zarkon has and stuff. So,
but if she's a third party, who's the big bad?
I don't know. That's what I'm wondering.
Like, are we going to introduce another new character here? Because that feels like what we need to do.
I don't think so. I mean, I think you could just have the threat of the Galran Empire, like if it's just some new mouse person running them. Like it doesn't really, it's fine if they're just an ambiguous threat, and then you have two villainous leaning third parties, and then you have the Paladins. I feel like that could maybe work.
Maybe, but I feel like the Galran Empire is just a little too faceless without somebody really running it.
I want to see it divided.
Who's our number one general outside of that's alive?
Are you trying to ask me what all the names of the other people?
Yeah, Andy, I want you to name one name of any Galran that's not yeah. So
Keith is part Galran.
Okay, Keith, there you go. Keith does not exist in these two. He's there briefly, yeah.
He's like just a stock image in the screen.
Yeah.
Next question is Keith ever show up at all this season?
No,
that's what I'm saying.
We will never see him move.
That's good.
Okay, let's talk. We could talk Pidge stuff in a second, but first, the Lotor Zarkon fight. I mean, we talked about it in terms of coherency, but just the visuals of the fight, right?
Gorgeous.
Yeah, we got. I feel like as much as I was unimpressed with the visuals of The Prisoner, I was equally as impressed on the other side with the visuals of Blood Duel. It's not just that, it's like a 3-headed fight, and you had this great snapshots of, the lions fighting, and then you have, these moments with Lotor and Zarkon. Both of these episodes to a certain extent seemed more anime, I think, than a lot of the show does. It came across, I think, in the fight scenes. Yeah, Jeff, were you, impressed with Lotor Zarkon fight?
Yes, and it was a good callback to, I think, our first ever Zarkon Shiro fight, when Zarkon gets a hold of the Black Bayard and uses it with great effect. He has like a chain sword sort of thing, like the similar thing in Pacific Rim. I think that's when we first saw that weapon come out, and now it was good to see it back here.
Yeah. Hayley, what did you think of it?
I think it was great. It was really nice too, because after the first episode, I was pretty like, oh gosh, like this is not very exciting. But that fight was really good and really interesting. And I liked how they set up the episode as well, where we are flashing back and forth between earlier and then where we're at now. Because I was like, oh, what's going to happen? It wasn't really a shock that that someone was going to fight, but I wasn't expecting a fight of that magnitude that this early into the season. And it was gorgeous, and the colors were amazing, and it was really fast paced, which was very exciting. So yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it.
I agree. I think I wasn't expecting a season finale quality fight.
No,
in
I was expecting oh, they'll like shoot after the thing. Like, I was not expecting them to actually get Pidge's dad. So I was expecting something to do with that. But
I mean, whatever with that. But yeah, it's
Pidge's dad.
The fight. Anyway, Andy, you called it the best fight in the series.
Yes, this is the best fight of the series so far. It
could totally
really is. There are 3 prongs going on at once. They all have little special things happening that make the fights a little unusual. We have Zarkon and Lotor, which are just 2 fighters, don't get to see that often, and they're both really brutal, really trying to go for the throat at each other. Then we have Pidge and the other paladins fighting in that ship that's falling, which is a really awesome set piece with like no gravity, but they're also trying to get to the control panel. Like, that's an awesome fight. And then we have Keith fighting in the air with the other lions, really showing why he's the second in command now. And that's like, all these 3 really match up really well. And I think it all culminates in that one shot where the one Galrin ship crashes into the ground where Lotor and Zarkon are fighting. That shot is just incredible. I just love it so much.
Yeah, there's a few really standout shots. Visually is so impressive. I'm going to disagree on best fight for 2 reasons. One is the coherency, which we got into enough. I think 2 is that the prong of this 3-prong thing that really matters to me is Lotor Zarkon. And I don't think we focused on it nearly enough. I feel like that was like everything, and I didn't really care about the other 2 sides of this. I was just like, let's go back to Lotor Zarkon. That's the one that's the coolest looking. That's the one with the most stakes. And we just like go away from it for 5 minutes at a time. So I didn't love that aspect. But still, it's just like visually stunning. Definitely a lot of great, great specific, sequences, we can talk about for a while to come. But, that was definitely a big highlight. We haven't gotten into, I feel like maybe purposefully, we have not really gotten into Pidge's, dad, until 30 minutes into the podcast. And I would say that's because I didn't care about it.
No.
I felt like it was fake the whole time. I didn't think it was real. Like, I really thought it was a ploy. I thought they were going to pick him up and he was a robot the second time.
Oh, a second hologram. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it seemed like it was too sudden. Like, we had that whole episode with Pidge trying to find her dad, and it was just so heartbreaking. Mm-hmm. And then he's just dumped on them out of nowhere. It just felt really weird.
I was expecting that Matt had seen something like in that last cell that he opened up. Before he went back in the prison, because it seemed like something he was looking at something, and I was expecting to be like, oh yeah, Dad got like turned into a robot or something.
Yes,
like
exactly.
That, right?
Yeah.
But then it was just, no, he's fine. Like,
I was expecting the dad to have been there and have told Matt something, been like, hey,
right?
I'm alive. I need to do something into that.
But no, he was just upset because he couldn't find his dad.
Yeah, I mean, that's first episode problems, but yeah, that was stupid. That it was just he wasn't there. That's why he had a haunted expression. Yeah. Okay.
But it led into this one because I was expecting like something to happen. And also, I think the problem with all this is that because we have like 0 attachment to Pidge's dad, except for like Pidge is upset, which is upsetting, but also Pidge, like the entire universe versus your dad. Like,
yeah.
Well, let's get into the second first. Jeff, did you have any emotional attachment to finding Pidge's dad and all of the sequences with him?
So no, I did not have any attachment at all to finding his dad. Because
0 for 4. Aw.
We spent so much time. I guess I like exhausted all my like Pidge finding family feelings.
It's been going on for a while.
With Matt. And that was good. It spanned a while and good payoff. And now it's like, oh, Dad's here. Let's go get him. One thing I don't know how they could have handled it well, but as a strategist in the room where we're discussing whether or not to actually do this deal, Pidge's reaction would have given me pause. I was like, okay, Pidge, maybe you shouldn't be on this mission because you are clearly emotionally compromised and you're going to do something stupid. And kill us all because you want your dad. So why don't you sit this one out? I don't know how well that plays, but there's some merit to that idea, I think.
So I feel like we've hit the nail on the head on why this is a really dumb plot line, because we just did it! We just went through this! This is it's the most frustrating thing is I feel like Pidge's reaction to everything. Because I already found it not really sympathetic. And this isn't fair, I think, but I didn't really find it sympathetic when she was so singularly angrily minded at finding Matt. For the entirety of the show. And then we find him. Yay, we don't have to go through this anymore. And she's just doing it again. It's the same emotional reaction that she's having. Mm-hmm. And I want to love Pidge. Like, this is my favorite character on the show. And I just am so frustrated that we keep giving her this single emotional reaction to things. Like, this is the only way, this is the only emotional response she has. And this is the only way she can express it is in this, narratively frustrating way. And regardless of any of that, it's just the same thing twice. So mm-hmm. I thought that in both episodes she does that. And
like, what about Shiro's dad? Where's Shiro's dad? None of them seem upset.
Where's mom?
The only aspect of Pidge's character is her family. Like, what? Like, is there? Her robots and her family. I mean, this is, you know, I think all the Voltron characters aren't very good, but you know, like, let's give Pidge some other things to do. Let's not repeat the same plotline again.
Mm-hmm. And it's unfortunate because this should be like I feel bad that I'm not invested in it. And my first reaction to Pidge getting upset was like, oh god, like, calm down, Pidge, take a breath. We'll figure this out, but not this way. And when we should be like, oh, this is so sympathetic and feeling her pain and everything, but it just the problem is that it's not a character that we've met, and so we don't have any attachment to them. And like, I forgot that her dad was gone. I thought he was just dead at this point. Honestly, I completely forgot that he was still a factor at this point.
Yeah, like, and it's also like the part Jeff brought out with it's just so irrational given the stakes that we're setting up separately with mm-hmm. What's going on, and
we're gonna meet Zarkon, like. Yeah. It's pretty big.
And I'm not blaming Pidge. Let's make it clear. I don't hate Pidge. I'm not blaming Pidge. I think I'm blaming us writing Pidge this way. I feel like it's not great.
I think it would have been a lot more interesting, a lot more fulfilling if Pidge did have that original reaction, but then when they got down to the planet to the prisoner exchange, she was a lot more composed. Like, I understand her initial reaction to wanting her dad back. I think it's really the stuff that was on the planet that made me really upset. Like, I was just like,
because I don't think she would do that.
No, I don't. I think she would have been more calm-headed. Like, she'd been a lot more calm at that point.
It's very rational.
I think in our heads, the Pidge we want is one that is capable of being calmer. But the Pidge that the show presented is one who is just singularly angry whenever family is involved. And that's not a type of character that I'm gonna like, and that's the character who's potentially my favorite on the show. That's not good.
But especially when they're presented as an intelligent, rational, thinking, logical person as well, in other contexts, you know?
Yes, I agree with that, yeah.
And it goes against how she found Matt, because she got really emotional when she found, quote-unquote, Matt's grave, but then she got logical and figured out that he left her a code. It doesn't fit with what we learned about her in previous family episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously Pidge is allowed to have emotions and is allowed to, mm-hmm. people are allowed to react like this. It's realistic, whatever. It's, you know, I think it's just like, the fact that we've been hit so many times with the same reaction, and also that it potentially contrasts with other aspects of her personality. I think in their eyes, her being logical and calculated in most respects, but this one thing completely subverts that, is like interesting characterization. I mean, I mm-hmm. think that could be true to a certain extent, but,
it's probably because you know what, it's like, plot-wise, her dad probably has some information they need, right? And they were like, oh, what's the way we can get him, like, this whatever character that has information, we can make that her dad and introduce him this way. So at least we didn't get, like, another season of her being like, where's my dad?
That's the positive, is it's done. It's done. We're done in 2 episodes, so good. Move on.
I'm not sure it's done until we actually hear him talk next episode. Like,
you're still convinced he's clone dad. That's the new one here.
He was a hologram at first.
We have cloned Shiro already. Like, we might have cloned dad. Let's just wait and see.
Yeah, I'm very increasingly unconvinced we're getting to clone Shiro this season. Anyway,
I'm so in.
Well, actually, on that note, because I think I remember like Charon being some code name involved in his when he was awoke in a lab, right? Ooh. Am I the only one remembering that?
Yes,
that's so long.
I like it.
It could be. I thought when Lotor was like, there's a prisoner that was in my quadrant, and this is going to be personal for you guys. I thought for sure he was like, it's original Shiro. Like,
Oh, if only.
I thought that's what we were doing. It's like, nope, it's another Pidge family member plot. I was like, oh no, this is so much worse.
Yeah.
Oh.
But he was working on science experiments, so maybe he knows what's up with Shiro.
Just to be clear, I looked it up. Jeff is right. There was a Project Quran mentioned when we had Shiro come back.
Okay.
Hey.
Right.
See,
okay. I actually do think that was my
so
read
scared.
on.
Sorry.
Yeah, Jeff.
I was so scared of googling that because I didn't want to like have any spoilers for the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. I can't. I'm like, I can't go on anywhere. No Reddit, no anything.
I found a
So-
post from August 6th of last year, and I'm like, yes,
good.
this can't be from later this season.
Yeah, I will
Amazing.
say my first read. I think now that I remember when I was watching the episode is that Hagar was activating Sleeper Shiro or something. Like I think that could be connected. Yeah.
So what was Shiro doing during this fight, though? Because I don't remember. Like,
He
so
ran
maybe
up
him
his
powering
arm.
down wasn't this thing. It wasn't doing.
I don't think she was powering down Zarkon, but it's
No.
possible. But Shiro, there's no sign that Shiro was behaving differently. He was very
Was he just,
composed
like,
and stuff.
If we just like slid the camera to the right, he's in the back like powering up or something, and no one noticed.
Yeah.
I think the
What was
problem is
happening?
Shiro hasn't really done much in these two episodes, so we can't really see like if he's being effective.
Well,
in
we
it
were
yet.
just back to leader Shiro. I think he was very much.
Yeah.
I feel like any of the most of the evidence of him not being himself in previous seasons was not there in these two episodes. He very much reminded me of original Shiro.
Which makes me more suspicious.
So that's what I want you to think. Yeah.
He slid back too fast. What's happening?
Yeah. Okay. I think we hit on everything from episode 2. Let's talk. We talked a lot about some aspects of the prisoner already, but we have a few fight sequences here, including this opening sequence of them destroying the sentry factory on this moon base, and then potentially later the prison escape sequence when they're with the scientists and stuff, and also Pidge like fighting the drones in around the prison. Jeff, which any of these stand out to you fight sequence wise?
Well, it was those drones were a lot bigger than I thought they were. Because coming in, they look like little darts, but then when they're actually destroying them, they're as big as the lions themselves. So, trick of perspective there. We've already talked about the transformation sequence. So, yeah, there's not much to say. I mean, it's cool explosion, looked cool. But yeah, that's all.
Yeah, I think the opening sequence was like, it was nice. There's nothing that really jumps out at you. It was pretty well executed. We have companions back for this episode in Rollo, Naima, and Beezer.
This
This
is weird.
Who was hyped for Rollo, Naima, and Beezer in this episode?
I was negative hyped.
What? Come on. Beezer. You don't remember Beezer? It's the robot Pidge freaked out about. Come on.
It's
This is the-
R2D2.
This is the weirdest fan service I can think of. Like, this is all that they must think that people really like these characters to bring them back in this way, but it's like, I didn't really care about these people to begin with.
No.
I think they were present for the last season finale battle, right? They're part of the rebellion.
Yeah,
Is that
they were present, but they had a really small role.
I think
Yeah.
I think Beezer got like messed up. That's why they were fixing him.
Apparently,
Right.
I will say, if you ask me outside of like Shay, my favorite minor character on the show, I probably would say Naima and Beezer. Not that I would remember their names, but like conceptually, I like them.
I really
What
like
about
that
Galrin
one-
Molcop? He's the
Yeah,
Galrin
the Molcop.
Molcop is the best.
Come on, they were all Space Mall. I forgot that episode existed. Anyway.
I love that. Like, what was she in? She was in like one of the little ships at the end of whatever season, and she was like some sort of fox creature, and she was the boss of like the Legion. Like it was the red, blue, like groups from Star Wars, basically in the ships. Do you guys remember her? She was cool.
Naima or a different person you're talking
Oh,
about?
she didn't have a name, or she probably had a name.
I
at
know.
some
Anyway.
point.
Oh, yeah.
I want her to come back.
Fox
She's
Leader.
awesome.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
listening to Lauren and Joaquim on the Let's Voltron podcast, and Lauren was talking about how that's her favorite character. the
Yeah,
Fox there.
she was awesome.
I was like, who is this?
She should come back.
Yeah, I was like, who are you talking about here?
She had a
Um,
lot of like lines in that one episode, so maybe she's definitely got a voice actress.
Yeah. Anyway,
Hey.
I'm looking at Voltron, Fox, and Google Images. I'm just seeing a lot of.
oh, that's not bad. That's a bad search term. I wouldn't do
She's in a
that.
ship.
Okay, we're Fox General. Yeah, it was Anyway, go, listen to the latest, creators on Let's Voltron if you want more on Fox Person. But, Rolo, Naima, their original, there's the one scene of the iconic, Lance, freaks out about Naima and then Pidge freaks out about Beezer, whenever their first episode was. I feel like that's memorable. They didn't really do anything here, any of them.
No.
They're just kind of here.
They assisted.
Naima freaked out about Beezer. I guess that's kind of a thing.
Well, Beezer saved Matt from dying, so that's he assisted that way.
Yeah, Beezer does save Matt. That's Beezer's big role, but there's no real need for them to be there. I feel like if you have Naima, you need Lance, but I don't know. But
Lance had the best line of the episode. He was when he looked at his hand and he had forgotten what he was going to tell Allura. That was so good.
You like that?
I loved it. It was great.
Okay, I hated that scene. Oh my god, that was my least favorite scene. And that part specifically was fine, but there's those anime reactions, and I was like, "What am I watching with that scene?"
Speaking of Lance,
I didn't like the scene. I just liked Lance's lines.
Speaking of Lance, I'm so afraid that we're gonna make a love triangle happen of Lance, Allura, and Lotor.
Hayley, that would imply that this show does romance, which
I know, right?
They have no.
Hopefully, they don't.
No. Hopefully, I very much want the show to do romance. I think it would provide a lot more emotional investment in the characters than we've gotten anyway. There was an article is romance and Voltron, and then they were like no, so that was the answer. Anyway, what else we got here? Yeah, so I think the scene with Lotor, with Shiro and Allura talking to Lotor about Lotor's motivations. That was my favorite part of the episode. And, basically Lotor claims that, so basically he'd give them intel, it all checked out. He claims that all he wants is to harvest quintessence peacefully. That's why he wanted the transreality comet. He wants prosperity for both, Galrans and the rest of the universe. He says, to Allura, don't judge me on the actions of my race. He says, clearly, princess, you're not ready to end this war. The reason this is great is because, this ties the comet stuff back into Lotor's motivations, which I think we didn't get any of last season, right?
Yeah.
It's still not clear what he's doing with the quintessence, but he does state his motivations are, he wants to harvest quintessence peacefully. That's why he wants the comet. Jeff, buy or sell that this is, Lotor is telling the truth here?
No, he's not. Not all of it. I mean, because that motivation doesn't really explain why he had to build ships out of it. Which also I just thought of that, is his ship being held somewhere in the holds of the castle? How did he end up a prisoner? What happened to his stuff? So, I don't know.
Yeah. But, Andy, buy or sell?
I think he only ever lies through omission. I think that's been true for all the seasons. What he says is always true, but there's usually another facet that he doesn't say. So I think there's clearly more here that's going on, but Lotor's just not saying it, which I think we all pretty much assumed.
Yeah.
Lying by omission, lying, buy or sell. Yes, buy. It's lying. Okay.
I don't know, Dylan. I don't know because
philosophical question.
Well, I don't think we need to get into it, but I don't think in this case it's technically lying because
context dependent. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Hayley, do you believe Lotor?
Well, okay. Yes, I think that he thinks that those are his motivations, but he is not necessarily considering them as an equal part in this. I think he's thinking of them as a means to an end kind of thing. He's going to use them to get
that's
to this
that's
point.
what Allura says. He says,
right?
She says she's worried they're part of a larger ulterior motive.
Yeah,
so you're buying Allura's take.
Yeah. But I don't think that means that he's lying because I think that is what he's saying. But I don't know. I think that he believes himself. He's probably not telling them everything because he's Lotor.
You think he believes himself? I feel like the show presents him as this master deceptor to a certain extent. I feel like if that's true, he's not believing himself.
I don't think that he thinks that what he would do with this power is going to be bad. I think that he thinks that he would take this power and do what he thinks is good, which may be controlling the entire universe, which not everyone would agree with.
Right, it's like two sides to a coin. He says peace throughout the universe. It could be with him in control of the universe.
Exactly. Yeah. We're peaceful because you're all afraid of me. you know?
Yeah.
But we have seen him in the past when we first introduced to him that his whole thing was that when he had a couple places under his control, and for the most part he was the boss, but he let them live their own lives, right? So maybe that's it's pretty gray area, which I think makes him an interesting character. But yeah, I don't know.
There's a version of Lotor that is sinister but consistent with his portrayal before, which is still not that bad, which is like, he extrapolate his ruling of those places into the entire universe, and still not ideal, but better than Zarkon.
He's definitely the lesser of two evils in that situation.
Potentially, yeah. It still is obfuscating his motivations. It's hard to tell. I'm buying what Lotor's saying because I like him. I'm in. I'll follow you, Lotor. King Lotor. You're more interesting than anyone else here, so I'm all in on whatever you tell me to do.
But we also have to factor that everyone outside of us for some reason hates Lotor. I don't get it. Lotor's.
I feel like that was just the Voltron Reddit, but yeah, that was interesting. I didn't know there were people that hated Lotor. That was not me though. I'm following you, Lotor. I'm your new general. Okay, take me.
You replace Narvi.
Yeah.
You get the cat.
Give me that's a double benefit.
Yeah,
cat too.
We're
Okay.
still signing up for the Galran Empire.
Yeah, with Lotor in charge, yes. Let's do it. Okay.
So here's what I would do in this situation is be like, okay, Lotor, like no pretenses. We're not like testing you anymore, but the sooner we dismantle the military arm of your empire, the sooner you can get on to ruling it. So just give us all the tactical info you have, and we'll go wipe the floor with them.
Yeah, you try to milk him still. You try to use him. You can't. Yeah, if you're the Paladins, you just can't assume that he's on your side. You have to keep him arm's length and try to reap the benefits.
But I don't think Lotor let that happen. Lotor
right. Lotor's not going to let that happen. Yeah.
Yeah, but what I want to do is like back him into a corner. Like if you're telling the truth, then you would give us all the information you have, right? We would stop this game of give us some. And maybe it's enough for us to trust you. Okay, give us some more. It's like, no, we're not going to trust you until your empire is not fighting anymore. So just help us make that happen.
Yeah, I think if Zarkon is dead, we're past the point where we have full control over Lotor. And I think with Hagar in control, she cares about Lotor. With Lotor in control, regardless of what's happening, if Zarkon's out of the picture, then their hold on Lotor is gone. Lotor still may try to be an ally with them, but I feel like they don't have all the chips anymore. So that might be the purpose of killing Zarkon, would be to change the dynamic so that Lotor has more control in the situation. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Well, we will see in these next 2 episodes of Voltron when we talk about them next podcast. I think we hit on most things on these 2 episodes. Any final comments, Andy, on first episodes of season 5?
I'm pretty excited to watch the rest of this. I don't know. I'm just excited to see what Lotor does. That's really what I'm in for right now, because he's the most interesting part, just like we were talking about, and they're really playing up him having a plan, and I really just want to see what his plan is.
Yeah, Lotor haters fight me. Literally fight me because I've conscripted with Lotor's side of the fight.
Also, Clone Shiro, we need to see what's going on.
Not happening.
Yes,
it's not happening.
Please.
It's not happening, but it's the only interesting thing happening with the Paladins.
It's so happening.
Season 10 material. Yeah, it might be with the Hagar stuff that might happen, but no, season 10 material. Jeff, final thoughts.
Well, there's one little nugget that was cool in episode 2. I've always wondered, like, okay, with Lotor, both of his parents have glowy eyes and he does not. In fact, all of the Galrans have glowy eyes and he does not. Mm-hmm. So what was up with that? And in the flashback from Hagar, we saw him with glowing eyes. So there's some event that made him not have those, and that could be plotly interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there.
Overall, good, solid episode number 2.
Hayley, final thoughts.
Episode 2 made me excited for the rest of the season, so that's good. I want Hagar and the generals to team up now, and Lotor to do cool stuff, and also Shiro to double cross them as a clone. So hopefully,
rooting for evil Shiro.
Oh, it'd be so funny. Or not funny, but like just
How can we not root for evil Shiro? Because it means Keith has to come back. Keith is
yeah. No, it'd be really cool. I think that'd be really interesting. And it would also be interesting just because we are getting some time with Hagar in this episode. So I assume that she may have like some sort of control over him, right? So that might play into it, but we'll see. I think the first episode was whatever, but second episode was pretty cool and leading to cool things.
Yeah. Thumbs up. More Hagar, more Lotor, please. There you go.
Yes.
That's it. Keith, yeah, will Keith be in the next episode?
No. I think he's like the finale. He'll reappear.
he'll show up in a ship and actually try to do something, and then he'll be cut off by Lotor again.
Or like try and fly.
It's like a
his
running
ship
gag now.
into-
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the running
That's
gag that Keith does
Wall.
nothing.
running gag is that we thought Keith was a character, but he's not. Yeah. Okay. I'm sure we'll see him in another episode soon. Anyway, that's all. Let us know what you thought of The Prisoner and Blood Duel. Leave comments, overlyanimated.com. Click on the article, leave comments there. If you're listening on YouTube, leave comments there as well. And we will see you for episodes 3 and 4 of this season. Come talk Voltron with us on our Discord, overlyanimated.com/Discord. We have Voltron spoilers channel up, which I have muted. No spoilers. And to support us via Patreon, patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thank you very much to all of our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Juliana, aka Julie Jana, and thanks as always to our patron executive producers John, Ryan, Steve, Alex, Andy, and Hugh. Busy weekend, more Voltron, a lot more Voltron, new Star Wars Force of Evil, potentially new Final Space coming up, so find all that out at overlyanimated.com. Thank you guys very much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.